First on Wink News at 4, Hurricane Matthew has strengthened to a Category 4 hurricane. It's expected to hit Florida's east coast in a matter of hours.
Charlotte County just declared a local state of emergency in just the last 10 minutes. Lee County has partially activated its emergency operations centers to support shelters for people heading to Southwest Florida from the East Coast. And right now, those shelters are stationed at Alico Arena and the Estero Recreation Center. And just hours from now, Matthew made landfall in the Bahamas with a punch. The high winds ripped the roof right off of this home, and now we could see even more devastation in Florida, where Matthew is expected to make landfall in just a matter of hours. Governor Rick Scott's demanding those asked to evacuate to get out now.
There are no excuses. You need to leave. Evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. Are you willing to take a chance to risk your life? Are you willing to take a gamble? That's what you're doing.
This devastating hurricane's already killed more than 100 people in Haiti. Today, U.S. military helicopters arrived to deliver aid.
Wink News has crews all over Florida covering Matthew. Wink News reporter Adam Wright is in West Palm Beach preparing for what could be a catastrophe there. Kim Powell is just 90 minutes north in Melbourne. And we start here, though, with the Wink News Weather Authority. Meteorologist Scott Zedeker has been tracking Matthew. He joins us now with the latest update. Scott?
Thank you, Amanda and Bob. Yes, Matthew located right here. There is the Grand Bahama. There is Nassau, Bahama. That's what it moved over earlier this morning. There's the center of circulation, a well-defined Category 4 hurricane right now, heading off to the northwest, getting ready to move right over Freeport, Bahama, affecting the island of Grand Bahama. There's the east coast of Florida. It's roughly about 100 miles just off the coast of Miami right now. There is the latest as of 4 o'clock, getting the new advisory in just now. They've been updating these every hour now, the position, the forward movement, and the wind. Moving to the northwest at 14 miles an hour with wind at 140 miles an hour. The pressure dropped 1 millibar. It's now 938 millibars, but the wind is still staying the same at 140 miles an hour. There is the forecast cone. Remember, we are dealing with the forecast cone from the 11 o'clock advisory. They will update this coming up, hopefully at the bottom of this newscast, right around 4:45, but it usually comes out right around 5 o'clock or so. So we'll get the updated forecast cone then. But right now, you could see the center line is very close to the east coast of Florida. We are looking at some of the portion of the cone over the east coast of Florida, central Florida, North Florida, as well as into southern Georgia and the Carolinas. And notice how it does work its way back, loops back into the Atlantic. And a lot of you folks are talking about this motion. Is it going to come back? Well, we'll talk about that coming up later in the weather forecast. Right now, uncertainty is very open with that, because I don't think we're going to see much in the way of this coming back, but we'll talk about that coming up. There is the impacts here in Southwest Florida. I think late this evening we're going to start watching the wind increase. We've already been dealing with it today. We're going to watch the increasing wind throughout the evening into the overnight period as Matthew gets very close to the east coast of Florida. That's Friday morning, just off the coast of the looks like the Space Coast, Daytona Beach, and then working right up the east coast toward St. Augustine and Jacksonville. That's what we're going to be dealing with for the next 24 to 36 hours. Up the east coast, they are preparing for a possible landfalling hurricane, possibly a major hurricane making landfall there. What can we expect today? Well, coastal areas, the wind anywhere from 15 to 25 miles an hour. Inland communities, 25 to 40 miles an hour. Could see some stronger gusts near Lake Okeechobee. That's why I put 40 miles an hour in. Coastal areas, anywhere from a quarter inch to maybe an inch of rain. So not a lot of rain expected. Inland communities could get a little more toward the center of circulation, especially out by Buckhead Ridge, Moorhaven, Clewiston. You could see maybe up to 3-4 inches of rain with some of those rain bands moving through. Storm surge. We will not see storm surge today as the wind is offshore. That could change tomorrow. I'll show you that coming up in a little bit. There is the wind right now, generally out of the north and northeast, 15 to 20 miles an hour. Had some wind gusts, as I mentioned, in the mid to upper 20s already. There is Doppler radar. There are some of the rain bands already moving through Southwest Florida. A quick check on the radar when I come back, and we'll have more on Hurricane Matthew as well.
All right, Scott, thank you. New information now. DeSoto County schools will be closed tomorrow. Glades and Hendry counties have already canceled school for today and tomorrow. Lee, Collier, and Charlotte counties will have school. Florida Gulf Coast University has canceled classes for tomorrow, and Florida Southwestern State College canceled classes at their Hendry and Glades County campuses starting tonight at 5 and through tomorrow. South Florida State College in Arcadia is also closed tomorrow. Meanwhile, every county school district along Florida's east coast through Volusia County has canceled class. Brevard County is under a mandatory evacuation order right now.
People are scrambling to do what they can to protect their property from Hurricane Matthew.
Wink News reporter Kim Powell is live in Melbourne, where people have been lining up to get sandbags. Kim?
Yeah, behind me is where this last-minute sandbag filling station was, but it was supposed to close at 4 o'clock. They were forced to close an hour early because of this rain. But earlier, the line was wrapped around this parking lot, and we talked to some people who had only been waiting for about 30 minutes or so, which is actually a lot shorter than the 8 hours that someone told us about yesterday. And we've talked to a lot of people today who are planning on sticking the storm out despite the mandatory evacuations. So these last 24 hours here in Brevard County have really been all about preparing as best they can.
No, it's too late now. It's too late now. I mean, if we started going now, I feel we just get caught up in the storm and then no way back. We boarded up our houses and got our generator going and food. That's all we're gonna do.
And people are able to get 10 sandbags each, but again, the sandbag filling station is now closed as the storm is moving closer. Live from Melbourne, I'm Kim Powell, Wink News. Now.
Kim, thank you. Wink News continues its team coverage now from West Palm Beach. Wink News reporter Adam Wright is there. And Adam, tell us what's happening there right now.
Well, Bob, we're near the heart of downtown West Palm Beach, and it's really started to pick up here just within the last 15 minutes. We're starting to deal with wind gusts of about 30 miles an hour and more, and they're sustained, and we're finally starting to see some palm fronds fall off of the trees. The rain is a little more sporadic. Sometimes it's a light sprinkle like it is now. Other times it's a little heavier. Now, we have only seen a few cars here back and forth. The local authorities are urging people to stay off the roads. So other than those few cars that we've seen, it's a ghost town out here near downtown West Palm Beach. Let's take a look out here. As you can see, there's one car parked down the street there, but other than that, we haven't seen anybody out here. More than 100,000 people, more than 150,000 people have already evacuated Palm Beach County. Many of them are staying in their homes, but people like these are headed to local shelters. There's more than a dozen emergency shelters throughout Palm Beach County. This one is at a high school not too far from here, which filled up rapidly this morning. Hundreds of people rushed to make their way inside.
And this is a Category 4 hurricane. And I have my elderly mother with me and my wife. I just felt we were being foolish to stay in the house.
Now back out here live in West Palm Beach. They're expecting a storm surge here later of about 3 to 6 feet. We'll be back here live with an update at 5. But of course, you can follow me on Facebook at Adam Wright Wink News. I'll be posting videos and pictures throughout the day. For now, we're live in West Palm Beach. Adam Wright, Wink News now.
Adam, thank you. We have a breaking update coming in from the sports world. The University of Florida has postponed its game against LSU due to Hurricane Matthew. The Southeastern Conference announced the decision in the last 10 minutes. The SEC said efforts are underway to reschedule that big game.
And right now, more than 1.5 million people in our state face a mandatory evacuation. The counties include Brevard, Palm Beach, Volusia, Flagler, Indian River, St. John, St. Lucie, and Nassau. The Martin County Sheriff's Office has also issued mandatory evacuations for part of that county. Broward and Miami-Dade are under voluntary evacuations. Leaders are also telling people in parts of Georgia and the Carolinas to leave their homes.
Even though Lee County is not expected to take a big hit from Matthew, a lot of people are heading to the gas stations to fill up. And of course, many people are coming here from the east coast of Florida. Drivers in Cape Coral and Fort Myers say they've heard of gas stations running low or running out of certain types of gas, some putting limits on the amount you can get. Wink News went to check it out, and we found this. Both regular and mid-grade gas gone at the Shell gas station on John Morris Road and McGregor. Many drivers say they feel forced to pay more for the premium gas. Some told us, though, they are more concerned about preparing for a potential emergency.
It's very packed. We live right around the corner, and it's usually not this packed.
I'm going to say probably $100 because I got 2 more cars that I'm going to fill up. Everybody's nervous.
Shell managers say they are still unsure when they will get more gas. With gas in high demand, a warning this afternoon about price gouging. Since Florida is under that state of emergency, it is now illegal for businesses to put big markups on things like gas and other essentials. We're talking about food, ice, hotel stays, lumber, and water, all of the storm supplies. If you suspect price gouging, you can call the hotline. It's 1-866-9-NO-SCAM.
Matthew is impacting travel throughout the Caribbean and South Florida. The Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport closed this morning. Meanwhile, hundreds of flights are canceled at Miami International. Orlando International Airport will close at 8 tonight. And we checked flights at Southwest Florida International in just the last 30 minutes. And so far, there are 5 delays, but no cancellations. Wink News has complete coverage of the storm. Here you can see all of the traffic leaving the east coast of Florida. And back here in Southwest Florida, there's been increasing traffic as people keep leaving their homes, that is, on the east coast and coming here instead.
In just the last hour, Wink News meteorologist Scott Zedeker brought you a live update on our Facebook page of where Matthew is headed. Wink News is the weather authority, and we are constantly updating our Facebook page with updates on the track, evacuations, other important information to keep you and your family safe. And our team of Mets is working tirelessly to bring you the most updated information from the National Hurricane Center. Every time we learn something new, count on us to bring it to you live on the air. We'll also send alerts right to your phone. So if you haven't already, go ahead, download the free Wink News app.
Hendry County is expected to feel the wrath of Hurricane Matthew.
People are seeking shelter fast. Wink News is in Clewiston, where we will show you how those people are getting prepared next.
And here is Doppler radar. There's the center of circulation of Hurricane Matthew, a Category 4 hurricane with wind at 140 miles an hour, moving off to the northwest right now. When I come back, we'll take a look at Doppler radar and what do we expect here for the rest of the evening and through the day tomorrow. I'll let you know when I return. We want to give you the latest information from the National Hurricane Center on, of course, Hurricane Matthew as a Category 4 hurricane with wind at 140 miles an hour, moving still to the northwest right now, about 14 miles an hour. There is the Grand Bahama. There is Freeport, Bahama, located right here. They are getting ready for a direct impact of Matthew as it gets ready to move over the western side of Grand Bahama. That looks like that will be taking place here in the next couple of hours as this continues to move off to the northwest. Right now, you can see on the satellite representation, notice where the extreme weather is over here on the southern and southeastern side of the center of circulation. Some of those higher cloud tops there wrapping around the center. And notice this area, and that's of course where Southwest Florida is. Not too bad right now. We have been dealing with some wind gusts up into the 30s. We had a wind gust at Page Field earlier at 47 miles an hour with a rain band that moved through. I'll show you Doppler radar coming up and what to expect here as we move through the rest of the evening and in through the day tomorrow. There is the latest as of 4 o'clock. Moving to the northwest at 14 miles an hour. As I mentioned, the wind at 140 miles an hour, a Category 4 hurricane. It is a major hurricane, still very strong hurricane, working its way off to the northwest. There's the forecast cone. We should get a revised forecast cone coming up before the 5 o'clock newscast. If not, we will get that at the top of the hour at the 5 o'clock newscast, when they usually come in a little earlier. But there is the forecast cone we're working with from the 11 o'clock advisory. Very close to the east coast of Florida. They should be preparing for a possible major hurricane making landfall somewhere from West Palm all the way as north as St. Augustine, maybe Jacksonville. There is the weather that we're going to be dealing with. The weather is going to start going downhill and has been pretty much all afternoon. We're going to see some stronger wind from this point forward, as well as the rain chances going up, especially overnight as Matthew nears the east coast of Florida. So from around 8 o'clock this evening through 8 in the morning tomorrow, all the way through tomorrow evening, even though Matthew will be up near Jacksonville and St. Augustine, he'll be moving away. We're going to still feel some effects here in Southwest Florida as late as tomorrow evening. Doppler radar showing you the center of circulation. There is the well-defined eye, and notice the banding around the center of circulation. Some of those bands have already been moving onshore, not only the east coast through Lake Okeechobee here in Southwest Florida, up and down our coast as well. We had a wind gust, as I mentioned, 47 miles an hour at Page Field with a line of these showers and storms that moved through earlier. Now, I do want to focus in on the center of circulation. Right now, the last couple of hours there, I put a little line on it, and that's the motion right now, more off to to the north than northwest. It's going to be interesting to see what they do at the 5 o'clock advisory. But there is the motion. This is a 3-hour time lapse or a 2-hour time lapse, and you can see the motion right there. Now, if it stays on that trajectory, that's going to be very good for the east coast of Florida as it will continue off that path, maybe making landfall further north of Daytona Beach, maybe near Jacksonville or St. Augustine. But for Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Fort Pierce, this is a good situation as hurricane force wind is extending out, but not making its way just at the beach locations just yet. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that becomes more accurate as that continues, maybe more off to the north. There's Doppler radar, and you can see some of the rain already across southwest Florida. There is Highlands County as well as into Glades County. A few quick-moving showers. Get ready, Moorhaven, another round of some rain heading your way with some gusty wind. There's a thunderstorm just off the coast of the Cape Hayes Peninsula. All the rain today moving in from the northeast, moving rather quickly off to the west and southwest. There, the outer islands of Lee County under some heavy rain right now, some gusty wind, even a few lightning strikes there. Lighter rain from San Carlos Park through Estero, Bonita Springs, Bonita Beach. You can see some of that rain up and down the coast. And there's Marco Island just off the coast. There is some heavy rain there as well. Wind, it's not too bad today. Seeing sustained 15 to 20 miles across the area, 15 to 20 miles an hour across the area. Right now, out of the northeast, anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour. Nothing we can't handle here, but when you get those rain bands, that's when you get some stronger gusts across the area. Cape Coral reporting a gust at 23 miles an hour, had a report of 21 in Naples this last hour. As I mentioned, Pagefield had a gust over 40 miles an hour earlier. What can we expect? Well, we are going to see the wind stay with us tonight through tomorrow. Basically a northerly breeze overnight, and then it will shift more northwesterly. We'll have that wind anywhere from 20 to possibly 35 miles an hour out by Lake Okeechobee with some stronger gusts. Not a lot of rain expected, 1 to 3 inches of rain all said and done, maybe a little more rain around the lake. And the tides will run a little higher tomorrow, 1 to 3 feet above average as the breeze is more onshore. So as Matthew leaves, we're going to see that wind shift more out of the northwest and then the west around 25 miles an hour. So you folks along the coast, 1 to 3 feet above average. High tide occurs early in the morning tomorrow, and then at noontime is low tide. High tide reoccurs tomorrow evening. There are the model plots, and you can see how it's going to be very close to the east coast of Florida. Hopefully that northerly turn, maybe it tracks more on an eastern model. And then, of course, we have been watching and hearing a lot of comments. Is this going to come back and hit the southern tip of Florida? Because you can see the models kind of spinning it around and bringing it back in. Well, it's going to be such a weak state at this point, so the model's really not accurate at this point, so we'll kind of revisit that. But right now, we're thinking, no, it's not going to come back and hit southwest Florida. Scattered rain and windy first thing in the morning. Tomorrow, I think we do still have the wind, and it becomes more breezy second half of the day. Saturday looking pretty good as Matthew really leaves the area. Get ready for a pretty nice weekend across southwest Florida. By Monday, lower humidity expected. Just a chance of rain in the forecast Tuesday and Wednesday.
All right, Scott, thank you. The effects of Hurricane Matthew are expected to be felt in Hendry County, and people there are seeking shelter immediately. That's where we find Wink News reporter Andrew Scheithal. And Andrew, what's happening out there right now?
Well, Bob, we're at Colusa Middle School, and there are dozens of families who have arrived here really to seek safety and shelter during this storm. Now, the Red Cross tells me this is an evacuation shelter, so there really are the bare minimums here. There aren't even cots. People need to bring pillows, blankets. The only thing the Red Cross really is providing other than safety is food and water, and they really have been doing a fantastic job out here, really making sure everyone is taken care of. And I was speaking with a lot of the families as they have been walking inside, and a lot of them are concerned about their homes. A lot of these families live in trailers, and their fear is that when a lot of those wind gusts come in around 30 to 40 miles per hour, when those gusts come in, their concern is that there's going to be a lot of damage on their homes.
There's a lot of trepidation in there. You can tell that people are trying to get ahead of it and become safe before it really hits. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are worried about their homes.
Now, there are a number of other shelters in the area. There's also a shelter in LaBelle that the Red Cross is managing. There's also a shelter in Moorhaven, and the Red Cross wants to make this very, very clear. The time to come to a shelter is now. It's not an hour from now. It's not 2 hours from now or when it starts raining. The time to come to a shelter is right now. So they want to make sure anyone who is at home who has any concerns better come here and be safe than sorry. Again, we're at Clewiston Middle School. There's also a Red Cross shelter in Moorhaven and another one in LaBelle. For now, we're live in Clewiston. Andrew Scheinthal, Wink News Now.
Andrew, thank you. As you know, Hurricane Matthew is getting closer to Florida.
Lee County is ready to help. In minutes, Wink News reveals how some shelters are racing to help people.
And take a look at Palm Beach. This is live as Hurricane Matthew gets ready to hit Florida's coast in a matter of hours. Wink News is staying on top of Matthew's path. We'll be right back.
More continuing coverage of Hurricane Matthew. Storm shelters are open right now in Lee County for people who need them. That includes our evacuees from Florida's East Coast and further inland. Wink News reporter Megan Contreras is live outside of the Estero Rec Center, one of those shelters. Megan, this is where people should go who have pets, right?
Yes, for all of our viewers tonight that need a place to stay and they have a pet, come here to the Estero Recreation Center. I've already seen a few dogs and cats making themselves quite at home here.
Yeah, we're hoping it's still there tomorrow, but yeah, I have a lady that's 83, so I brought her and my dog.
Terry Hinman headed west after being told to evacuate from her Boynton Beach mobile home. She thought she could get a hotel, but turns out she couldn't find one with any availability.
We thought we could get rooms, but we got one room last night. No rooms to be had, and of course having a pet, we thought we were going to have to sleep in our car, so this is awesome.
Hinman is now staying at the Estero Rec Center. Her dog Rocky was welcomed with open arms.
Oh, this is awesome. I'd have slept in my car tonight, you know, if I had to, but it'd be better than over there.
Hurricane Matthew stopped a family of 6 from Switzerland from heading to the East Coast. So now they're staying at Alico Arena at Florida Gulf Coast University.
There were a moment we really were nervous when we couldn't find anything because we're 6 people. This is not easy to find something.
If you decide to go to one of the Lee County storm shelters, make sure you bring all of your own necessities.
They don't have food, so bring your own food, but you got a place to stay and it's safe. And they're very nice inside.
What we are going to do now, we have to buy some pillows, something to lay down. This is what we have to do, but all the rest is here. We can go out for goes to eat, to drink something.
And the Estero Rec Center can hold up to 1,000 people. Again, these storm shelters in Lee County are open now, and the Estero Rec Center will take your pets. Reporting live in Estero, Megan Contreras, Wink News Now.
All right, Megan, thank you. Hurricane Matthew is getting closer to Florida's East Coast.
And now people are evacuating the area and they're bringing their boats. Wink News is live at the Fort Myers Yacht Basin as it struggles to keep up with the influx of boats.
Right now, our team of Wink News meteorologists is working hard, tracking Matthew's every move. We'll have reports from our meteorologist, and meteorologist Scott Zedeker will be along in just about 3 minutes.
Oh, we've been dealing with some of the rain from Matthew already across Southwest Florida, especially up and down the East Coast. There is a center of circulation right now, and this is a 140-mile-an-hour hurricane, a Category 4 hurricane, Matthew, as it continues to move off to the northwest at 14 miles an hour. You can see the bands already moving on shore, and some of those bands have been reaching our coast as well. Had some pretty strong wind gusts at Page Field. Had a wind gust about 31, 32 miles an hour a couple hours ago, and it looks like we're going to be dealing with this gusty wind as long as these bands continue to move through the area. There's Doppler radar. This is a 2-hour time lapse. Been watching the center of circulation getting ready to move very close to the Grand Bahama Island. There is Freeport, Bahama, and you can see it is setting its sight on Grand Bahama here in the next couple of hours as that continues to move off to the northwest. But notice the trajectory of Matthew right now. If it stays on this line, we can't be certain to say that it will stay on this line, but if it does, this will spare the east coast of Florida, especially from Lauderdale up to West Palm and Fort Pierce for a direct hit. Maybe it stays just off the coast, but right now we're kind of keeping a close eye on that path path as it continues to move off to the north and northwest. There are some of the rain bands moving in through southwest Florida, some of the heavier rain just off the coast of the Lee County Islands. There's some of the rain over Highlands County, Hendry, as well as Glades County. Moorhaven, Clewiston seeing some of the rain and some gusty wind as those bands move through. There's Inglewood, Cape Hayes Peninsula seeing some of the rain, as well as the Lee County Islands. Most of the heavy rain is just off the coast. Also been watching some of the rain from San Carlos Park to Estero and Bonita Springs all the way down to Marco Island. Just some light rain falling right now across the area. Wind hasn't really been a big issue other than some wind gusts in the mid to low 30s across the area. We expect the wind to continue to pick up through the overnight period and through the first half of the day tomorrow. But right now, generally out of the north between 15 and 20 miles an hour on average. And we've had some wind gusts. There's a wind gust at 22 miles an hour currently in Port Charlotte, as well as into the Punta Gorda area. We can expect some windy weather tonight, tomorrow. Wind could see some wind gusts near 35 miles an hour out by Lake Okeechobee. 1 to 3 inches of rain expected, all said and done. And the tides will run a little higher tomorrow. We've been talking about this since yesterday with that westerly wind. As Matthew leaves the state, the wind becomes a little more northwesterly overnight than westerly tomorrow. And if it stays anywhere from 25 to 30 miles an hour across the area with some gusts, we will see high tides running anywhere from a foot to 3 feet above average. And you folks along the coast know who you are, who usually see some flooding when you get these higher tides. So keep that in mind. That will be taking place overnight and throughout the day tomorrow. High tide comes in the morning, early in the morning, around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Low tide is at noon tomorrow, so that's a little better that the low tide arrives in the afternoon. A little more on Matthew, and hopefully we'll get the update coming up in about 15 minutes.
All right, thank you, Scott. With wind and rain starting to pound on the East Coast, some are headed west to Lee County, and they're headed here by boat. Wink News reporter Michelle Kingston is at the city of Fort Myers Yacht Basin, where dozens of people are now docking their boats to wait out the storm.
Close to 50 people who have docked their boats here within the past 2 days, all of them from the East Coast, all of them escaping the storm.
Everything's booked, and everybody's doing it last minute.
The city of Fort Myers Yacht Basin is packed.
So you guys are all set. Just holler if you need us.
Great, thank you.
Boat after boat after boat after boat.
Filling nearly 50 spots in just 2 days.
It's a good feeling to be able to take these people in. They have no other place to go, so it's a good thing for us.
East Coasters are making the trip across the state to keep their boats safe.
Out of the water or out of the way.
Finding refuge here in Fort Myers.
Smooth sailing for us. A lot of people did have some problems on the way, but we're very fortunate to make it here just in time.
Dockmasters say they've been receiving calls since Monday night.
The phones are ringing off the hook.
Taking in 30 boats yesterday and another 15 today.
Everybody's trying to figure out what the thing's doing, so the best fail-safe is just get as far away as possible.
Everybody's taking precautions. I hope nobody gets seriously hurt, and everybody does the wise move. Just got to watch the eye and see where it goes to.
For now, these multi-million-dollar boats will dock here in Lee County, away from the hurricane, the wind, and the rain, and stay safe.
We're going to spend the night, keep an eye on the boats, make sure they're fine. I'm sure they're perfect. But it's a good excuse for us to come get out of the way, too.
Boaters who made their way across the state say that the waterways were packed with boat traffic. And last we checked, there were just a handful of spots left here at the basin. In Fort Myers, Michelle Kingston, Wink News Now.
And earlier today, Wink News reporter Kim Powell brought you a live report from Melbourne on Facebook. Wink News has team coverage of Hurricane Matthew all across Florida. Anytime we learn anything new, you can count on us to bring it to you live on our Wink News Facebook page and send you push alerts from our Wink News smartphone. And Wink News is staying on top of Hurricane Matthew. Our experienced team of meteorologists is working diligently to follow Matthew's path. Every time we get an update from the National Hurricane Center, you can count on us to bring it to you live on our Wink News Facebook page.
With Matthew nearing the east coast of Florida, many people are struggling to find a place to stay after they evacuate.
Straight ahead, Wink News talks to some locals who say they're willing to open up their homes for free.
All right, folks, been keeping you up to date on, of course, Hurricane Matthew. There is the center of circulation as it gets ready to move right over the Grand Bahama. There's Freeport, Bahama, and it is not a good case for those folks there on that island. There's the east coast of Florida. That's us here in southwest Florida. Look at the clouds and the banding already moving in across the area. There's a close-up shot on the visible satellite picture, and you can see a well-defined Category 4 hurricane moving off to the northwest right now. And as I mentioned, there's the Grand Bahama Island as it gets ready to make landfall there in the next couple of hours or so. And we're going to keep a close eye on this because I do want to show you the radar and the motion coming up. But let's give you the latest as of 4 o'clock. We're hoping for the 5 o'clock numbers. They just didn't come in just yet. We have to catch those at the top of the newscast here. And Jim Farrell will be joining us then. With wind at 140 miles an hour, still a strong Category 4 hurricane moving to the northwest now at 14 miles an hour. The pressure has been dropping all morning long. It has been holding steady the last couple of hours, but would not be surprised if it still gathers some strength before getting very close to the east coast of Florida. They are preparing for a possible major hurricane up and down the east coast of Florida making landfall, but I do want to show you the radar and some encouraging news on that. But there is the 5-day forecast cone. Just a bad situation for the east coast of Florida as well as Georgia and the Carolinas, as all that wind and rain will be riding right along the coast and some of the storm surge as well. Could see anywhere from 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. Some locations possibly up to 8 feet of storm surge up and down the east coast of Florida. And there you go. Zoom in the forecast cone. So this evening around 8 o'clock, we think Matthew will be right around here, right near the Grand Bahama Island, and then working its way up the east coast of Florida, perhaps making landfall on the east coast of Florida. There's Friday morning. There's Friday evening. By Friday evening, the weather will start getting much better here in southwest Florida. But from this point forward, all the way till Friday afternoon, get ready for some windy and some rainy weather across southwest Florida. There's Doppler radar. And you can see the bands already moving on shore. Already had a few rounds of bands moving through southwest Florida already, and they continue, and they're going to only increase as we move our way through the overnight period and throughout the day tomorrow. Zoom in. I want to put a little line on here. This is a 2-hour time lapse, and that's what I've been watching. Notice the center circulation kind of working its way right toward the Grand Bahama Island right there. Now, if it keeps this track, and that will really be beneficial for the east coast of Florida, as it could most likely stay out in the Atlantic, not affecting, at least not giving the East Coast a direct hit. Obviously still feeling some effects, but the core wind, the hurricane force wind, could possibly stay off the East Coast of Florida. So this is something we'll be watching through the evening and into the overnight period. And of course, we'll see what the Hurricane Center does with the forecast cone coming up here in about 15 minutes or so. There is some of the rain now moving through Lake Okeechobee. You can see LaBelle seeing some rain. There's some rain up and down the Lee County Islands as well. These showers are containing some gusty wind as well as some heavy downpours, so keep that in mind if you are out and about. Probably not the best of idea, as these will contain some wind gusts up to 30, maybe 35 miles an hour. Some of these rain bands moving through the area. There's some of the rain in Inglewood all the way down to Rotunda. Some of the heavier rain just off the coast of Lee County. And there's some lighter rain from Bonita Springs down through Naples, as well as Marco Island, seeing some of that light rain over you folks as well. Wind, not really a big deal. Nothing we can't handle here. We had some wind gusts in the 30s. Right now, sustained, I'm only looking 15 to maybe 10, 15 miles an hour right now. We did have some stronger wind gusts. There's a wind gust of 21, 22 in Punta Gorda, so nothing we can't handle on the wind side. But the wind will pick up as we approach sunset and even after sunset. So windy tonight and tomorrow out of the north, and then eventually out of the northwest and west. But this evening, look for wind anywhere from 20, possibly 35 miles an hour out by Lake Okeechobee. This is right around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning or so, and I think the peak winds hit here in southwest Florida anywhere from 20 to 25 miles an hour, and you could see some stronger gusts possibly near Lake Okeechobee. Rainfall, not a lot expected, an inch, maybe 3 inches of rain, lesser at the coast and our inland areas, especially around Lake Okeechobee, maybe up to 4 inches, as we could see some of that rain a little closer to the center of circulation. And the tides could run a little higher come tomorrow as the wind becomes more westerly. Look for the high tides to occur in the morning tomorrow. Could be anywhere from 1 foot to 3 feet above average. So first thing in the morning, we are going to hold on to the wind overnight, and as well as in the morning, 15 to 20 miles an hour. The wind becomes more westerly by the afternoon, but it becomes breezy. The wind will relax a little bit tomorrow afternoon. Breezy out of the west, 15 to 20 miles an hour with some stronger gusts. Temperatures rebounding back in the 80s. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some sunshine as well. But then as we work our way into your Saturday and Sunday, as we kick off the weekend, not too bad at all. I think we do have a chance of rain in the morning, and then we really clear things out. Should see a lot of sunshine with a northwesterly breeze across the area. Not too bad at all. Sunday, some slightly lower humidity trying to work its way in, especially by Monday. So looking pretty good this weekend once Matthew leaves.
All right, thank you, Scott. After the storm, the only way to have power if the electricity is out is to hook up a generator. First, though, let's take you live to Sunny Isles Beach in Miami-Dade County. The wind is picking up there. The water is choppy. We are tracking Hurricane Matthew, and we'll be right back. After the storm, the only way to have power if the electricity is out is to hook up a generator.
But which one is the best, and how do you stay safe when using a generator? Wink News investigative reporter Sam Smink is live in the studio to help.
There are two types of generators, portable and stationary. Portable generators tend to be cheaper and can be easily taken from place to place. Setup is as simple as turning them on and powering your items. However, they run on fuel, as much as 12 to 20 gallons per day if you're running it around the clock. Stationary generators are often larger and usually require installation by an electrician, which means they usually cost a lot more. However, they can automatically switch on when the power goes out and can often supply more power than portables. They run on natural gas or propane. If you have a generator that runs on gas, you need to make sure you place it far enough away from your home, open doors and windows to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector as well. Also, make sure you have a good extension cord to reach the items in your home you want powered up, and read all the instructions before powering up. If you're worried about theft, you can buy a chain and lock. Remember, do not move the generator closer to your house. For more information, including some of Consumer Reports' best picks on both types of generators, head to winknews.com. Bob?
Good advice. Thank you, Sam. Tonight on the CBS Evening News, Scott Pelley anchors from West Palm Beach with full coverage of Hurricane Matthew. Matthew is one of the most powerful hurricanes in nearly a decade, making its way to Florida.
A team of correspondents will continue to CBS News' coverage from the Bahamas all the way north to South Carolina. That's tonight on Wink TV at 6:30. Let's check in with Lois Tomey for what's coming up on Wink News at 5.
Well, we're staying on top of the latest movements of Hurricane Matthew. We have a brand new update from the National Hurricane Center, and Southwest Florida stands ready to help. Wink News is there as disaster teams from our coast pack up and put their plan into action, ready to help in the disaster zone. Plus, taking advantage in a time of need. We'll show you how the state is cracking down on price gouging and when a price hike is considered illegal. Wink News continues in just 90 seconds.